Dear students, welcome to the online class offered by the Department of Botany, Marthama College, Chungatra. I am Elizabeth George and presently we are discussing topics related to phycology. We have discussed details regarding chlorophyceae in the last session, and in this session we will be discussing more on a specific chlorophycean algae, that is chlorella. We shall begin the session. Chlorella, as we said, belongs to the division Chlorophyta in the class Chlorophyceae, and the order is Chlorococcales, family is Chlorellaceae, and the genus Chlorella. It is a very common cosmopolitan freshwater algae which may grow in brackish water and also in moist terrestrial habitat. So mainly it is seen in the freshwater forms, either in lakes, rivers, ponds, etc. Or it can even grow in brackish water, slightly salty water, and sometimes it is also seen in terrestrial habitats which are moist in nature. Some of them grow as epiphytes on the bark of trees, while some others are endosymbionts, which occur in tissues of invertebrates like Zoochlorella. It is seen in the hydra tissues. Zoochlorella is a form of chlorella which lives in the tissues of hydra. Another one is Chlorella parasitica. It is a parasitic species and a common chlorella seen in lichen is Chlorella lichena. So these are the pictures of cells of chlorella. So here we have different chlorella. So we can see that the cells are spherical in nature and sometimes they occur in clusters, not a multicellular colony, but they occur together as clusters. These are the light microscopic images of chlorella, and others are SEM and TEM images of chlorella. This first section shows the picture of chlorella living in an extreme habitat. This is a normal chlorella cell growing. So this is a diagrammatic view of chlorella. We have the chloroplast, membranes, mitochondria seen in the lower part, and there is a prominent nucleus with the nucleolus, and in the chloroplast we can also see pyrenoid. So here we can see that the chloroplast is cup shaped. This is another diagrammatic view which we can clearly see the organelles in this picture. So we shall discuss these later in the other slides. Coming to the structure of the thallus, chlorella is a unicellular small algae. The size is around 5 to 10 micrometers in diameter. It is non-motile. We may understand it with the diagram, that is, it lacks the presence of flagella. So it is a non-motile algae which is spherical to ellipsoidal green algae. So the shape ranges from spherical shape to ellipsoid. Many times it is seen singly and can also exist as a colony of 4 to 16 cells. So this colonial structure is seen in Chlorella conglomerata. It has a highly prominent chloroplast which is parietal, cup-shaped or laminate, and there is a one distinct pyrenoid. The pyrenoid is clearly visible as the chloroplast, and in some forms it is absent. If it is present, it is clearly visible. The electron microscopic study reveals that it is a C-shaped outline with an array of photosynthetic lamellae, which consists of a 2-unit membrane. So, these chloroplasts contain 2-unit membrane, and it is a prominent cup-shaped or seed-shaped structure. Another prominent structure is the nucleus, which is placed in the central part of the cell and lies in the chloroplast cavity. Sorry for the interruption. Mitochondria is also present within the chloroplast cup, and dictyosomes, otherwise known as Golgi bodies, are also seen in this cytoplasm. So we can say that the prominent structures of chlorella cell is a chloroplast with pyrenoids, then we have the nucleus with the nucleolus, mitochondria, and the Golgi bodies. So these are the various roles played by the organelles in the chlorella cell. So metabolism, most of the metabolic pathways happens in the cytoplasm, and the nutrition, mainly it is autotrophic in nature, so photosynthesis should take place, and that occurs within the chloroplast. Growth, after the production of food, it is consumed and assimilates the biomass from food and it grows in size. Then the maintenance of the various cellular functions and processes is maintained, or the water content, everything is maintained, the homeostasis is maintained with the contractile vacuole which fills up water and expel it through the plasma membrane. Then there is response, or the response to stimuli. The wave action of the cilia, the outermost small ciliary particles present in some cases, respond to the changes in the environment. It can move towards light, it can move away from darkness, etc. Then the reproduction, the nucleus divides and supports cell division. This is the cytokinesis, and other types of cell divisions or reproductory mechanisms also take place. The excretion is maintained by the plasma membrane, which controls the entry and exit of substances, including diffusion out of waste oxygen. So we can see that all the processes which should take place in the cell is carried out, or it is maintained in a balance by the different parts or the organelles of the chlorella cell. Coming to the reproduction, chlorella shows exclusively autospore production, and gametes and zoospore production are very rarely seen. So mainly chlorella shows autospore formation for reproduction. So parental cell divides to 2, 4, 8 or 16 daughter protoplasts, that is smaller parts of the protoplasm, and each of these becomes rounded and it secretes a cell wall and is known as an autospore. So a single cell, a single parental cell, grows in size and divides itself into numerous protoplast units. So before that, the nucleus should complete its division, that is nucleokinesis should take place, karyokinesis should take place, and after that the protoplast divides into different parts. It can be 2 parts, or it can be 4, 8 or 16 parts. And each of these parts will secrete a cell wall and becomes round in shape, and each of them is known as autospore. Autospore is quite similar to the parent cell, but the size is very small. So we can say that the size is small because it is formed from the division of the parental protoplast. Autospores are liberated by the rupture of parental cell wall. So all these small autospores are bound within the parental cell wall and they are released to the external medium by the rupture of the parental cell wall. So each of the autospore escapes from the parental cell and swims to a suitable place and germinate as a new individual. So some scientists have recognized 4 stages of growth in autospores or in chlorella autospores. The first one is growth phase, where autospores increase in size at the expense of photosynthetic products. So the photosynthetic products that is the starch or the carbohydrates produced by the parental cell, is used up by the autospores to grow into larger size. The second phase is the early ripening phase, where the cells of growth phase prepares for cell division. The post-ripening phase, where the cell divides twice, either in dark or light. So light is not an important factor. It can take place in darkness or in the presence of light. The division phase is the fourth phase, where the parental cell wall is ruptured and autospores are liberated. So all the four stages are taking place within the chlorella cell. So the cell grows in size, it starts division or prepare itself for division, then it completes its division, and finally the autospores are released to the medium. So these are the various images of the reproductory mechanisms seen in chlorella. So this is a vegetative cell of chlorella with the normal vegetative cell, and the cell slowly divides into smaller protoplasmic units with the nucleus, chloroplast and the pyrenoids. And finally the parental cell ruptures and releases the autospores to the external medium. So these are the various other mechanisms of reproduction in chlorella. So this is also autospore production, and this last image shows the division of chlorella. So this is a microscopic image, and we can see that the cell is slowly dividing into, the parental cell is slowly dividing into another cell by cell division or cytokinesis. So we have discussed 4 different phases of chlorella cells, and among them the first 2 phases are light and temperature dependent, and the last 2 phases depends only on temperature. So the first phase, that is the growth phase and the early ripening phase, needs light for its occurrence, and temperature is also an important factor. But the last 2 stages, that is late ripening and the completion of or the release of the autospores, does not require any effect of light. The various physiological studies have also been made in this regard, and the 5 substages are clearly recognized. In coming to the physiological significance of chlorella, it is a widely used tool for physiological studies because it is a single-celled algae which completes its life cycle very fast. It has got all the functions normally taking place in a plant cell, or it is a miniature form of a plant cell. So all these factors make it a very good tool for physiological studies. So mainly for carrying out studies about photosynthesis, respiration, factors which control photosynthesis, etc., are studied using chlorella. Warburg in 1919 used chlorella for constructing various models and conducting studies related to photosynthesis. These results are clearly or studied in detail in our physiology classes, which will be discussed in the coming semesters. So this is a very known or commonly known result of which is obtained by Warburg, and this was done, or the experiments were done, in chlorella. Why chlorella is used for such studies? A first reason tells us that it avoids contamination and grows luxuriantly in different environments. So whatever environment we are studying, we can culture chlorella very easily, and this makes it a good candidate. Now, entire plant behaves like a chloroplast. So it is a single cell which comes up to the size of only a small chloroplast of a living plant cell. So it behaves so and is a very good model. Thirdly, it is a rapidly dividing algae and the culture is very easy to maintain. It carries out its own photosynthesis. It needs minimum amount of nutrients which is supported externally. So it is a very good candidate which can grow by itself and completes its life cycle, or can undergo rapid division to form more amount of algae. Another one is it contains photosynthetic pigments which are similar to that of higher plants. So all studies related to photosynthetic pigments can be done or completed using chlorella. Young cultures are rich in protein, but while it nears to maturity, fats and carbohydrates also accumulate. This is a characteristic feature seen in chlorella, that is, it is very rich in protein content. So many scientists have used it for the studies on protein synthesis. So that is because in the early cultures it is rich in protein, so abundantly proteins are being synthesized. So this can be used for studies related to protein synthesis also. Now this mostly occurs in the absence of light and the expense of inorganic nitrogen which is available or which should be provided to the algae. Many findings made in physiological studies related to photosynthesis, that is role of intermittent lights, Calvin cycle, etc., are obtained from studies which were done using chlorella. So chlorella is a very important candidate or a very important algae if it is if it is thought about in biological studies. Another important feature of chlorella is the evolutionary significance. It has got a very important evolutionary role, that is, it is a connecting link between the subsequent algal forms and the lower forms. So it is a trend, or it shows a trend, that is the loss of motility in the motile unicellular algae. So ancestral types like Chlamydomonas have flagella, so it can move around in the watery medium, but chlorella is a non-motile form. So chlorella is believed to be evolved from Chlamydomonas by the loss of flagella. So these are originated from the motile ancestral forms. Now, such cells after repeated division in a single plane results in a chain of cells. So chlorella cells, after cell division, if the cells are not separated and the cells remains attached to each other, cell division in single plane results in the formation of a long chain of cells, that is a filamentous form of algae. Now if cell division occurs in more than one plane, in two-dimensional way, then it results in the formation of a leaf-like structure. Or if it occurs in a three-dimensional way, in more than two planes, then it results in the formation of a normal parenchymatous thallus. So we can say that chlorella is the ancestral form to many higher orders of algal forms, like filamentous forms, branched filaments, foliaceous forms, parenchymatous algae, etc. So evolutionarily also, it is a highly significant algae. So more than the complication or the more than the importance in the life cycle or importance in the reproductive phase, these are the major importance given to chlorella. That is its importance in the various biological studies, its importance in evolutionary studies. So this image shows the evolutionarily related forms of algae, and especially the relation to chlorella and its different species. Now coming to the economic importance of algae. As we discussed earlier, it contains high amounts of proteins, that is around 50% of its contents, nutrient contents is proteins, and around 20% is made up of fats, and carbohydrates come up to only 20%. So it is a very good storehouse of proteins and also contains good amounts of fats and carbohydrates. Apart from these, it also contains larger amounts of vitamins like riboflavin, choline, vitamin B12, etc. So all these nutritious characters or nutrients make it a good candidate for consumption. So it is a good food additive. It supplies nutrients. So along with our normal course or normal food course, we can add chlorella and its products into our daily diet so that we may acquire more amounts of nutrients. So presently it is cultivated in a large scale or an industrial scale in various countries like Japan, Israel, Germany, Holland, USA, etc. So it is expected to augment the food supplies in the arid zone. So in the arid zone where the food or the natural plant-based food are very lesser in occurrence, we can use such forms like chlorella. So it can be converted to desiccated or dry forms. It can be converted into powdered forms or tablet forms and consumed. So we need only to take in the powder or the capsule and we will get all the nutrients which are present in the algae. So these are the various nutrient qualifications of chlorella. It contains vitamins C, E, K1, B12, B1, B2 and B6. Around 10 to 30% of fibers, unsaturated fatty acids like omega-3 fatty acid, omega-6 fatty acids, etc. It contains various growth factors which also help us for our nutrient gain. It contains large amounts of proteins as discussed earlier, and proteins are made up of amino acids including the 8 essential amino acids which can only be provided by food. It contains around 10% of minerals like iron, calcium, manganese, zinc, etc. Chlorophyll, beta carotene, lutein, etc., which are antioxidants which help to maintain our health status. So chlorella is consumed in the form of powder as I discussed earlier. It is available in different forms by different companies or marketed by different companies. Fermented forms of chlorella is also seen. So this is a fermented form. Dr. Mercola, which is a company which markets fermented chlorella. Then we have tablet forms of chlorella. We just need to take in the tablet and have some water. So we will get all the nutrients which are present in this chlorella. So chlorella powder is a commonly consumed nutraceutical which is also available in the form of tablets. Biologists have paid so much of their attention to the application of chlorella as a space food for astronauts. Of course, it does not relieve our hunger. It is not an appetizing food, but it can be used as a nourishing factor for space travelers. That is, it is of a very small size. So, only we need to take the pills, and consuming these pills we are able to obtain the various large amounts of nutrients as we discussed earlier. So the space travelers, so for taking into the space or the astronauts can only carry very limited amount of goods with them. So they will have to take only very limited amount of food also. So then they are searching for such candidates where small amount will provide large nutrients and large amount of calories. So such food are being used for space travelers. So chlorella is a very good factor for this regard. It yields an antibiotic. Chlorella yields an antibiotic known as chlorellin, which is effective against gram-negative bacteria and gram-positive bacteria. Some forms of bacteria which is acted upon by chlorellin is Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus pyogenes, Bacillus subtilis, E. coli, Pseudomonas pyocyaina, etc. It plays an important role as constituent of biological filters in water reservoirs by aerating the water, and it removes carbon dioxide. So while the algae is photosynthesizing, it removes or takes up the carbon dioxide within the water and releases oxygen into the water. So it filters the water by carrying out its photosynthesis. It is the most important algae encouraged in sewage disposal. So for treating the sewage waste, algae such chlorella can be used, and it crowds out and suppresses harmful bacterial growth. It also helps in anaerobic bacteria to decompose raw sewage, serving as a cheap but effective means to purify sewage. So it helps in sewage treatments also. So these are the various economically important roles of algae chlorella, and we can see that the physiological experiments, the evolutionary significance, and the economical importance of chlorella have made it a very good candidate for various studies. So these are the factors regarding chlorella, and with these points you can prepare a small life cycle of chlorella by yourself as we did in Nostoc, and you can continue your studies. So in the next session we will discuss another type of green algae, chlorophycean algae. Hope you understood this session well. Thank you.